Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the SH Figuarts One Piece Sanji based on the raid on Onigashima. So he's got his burgundy or maroon, I think that's more of a maroon suit on. Pretty good look for Sanji. I think it's probably one of the more popular looks for him. I don't know for sure, I'm just guessing. Anyway, this One Piece line has left a little bit to be desired. Monkey had some QC issues. Monkey D. Luffy had some quality control issues. I didn't experience those personally, but I know a lot of people did. I experienced the limited articulation and very basic nature of the figure with problematic shoulders. And then Zoro was all but unposable. It was very disappointing for a three-sword wielding person. Very hard for him to be posed in doing anything other than a hero stance. And now we have Sanji. Did they get their stuff together finally for Sanji? And I'm happy to tell you, in some ways, yes. There are some very nice things about this figure that I like a whole bunch. And in other ways, particularly one specific thing, it's one of the worst things I've ever seen. Will it be a good enough balance for you to want to get the figure? I don't know, but maybe you will by the end of this review. So let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. Alrighty, before we look at the figure, let's take a quick look at my package. I do think the One Piece packaging right now is the top of the shonen action figures from SH Figuarts. Dragon Ball packaging is good, but I really like the way the One Piece packaging has like a map thing going on. They're color-coded like Dragon Ball to some extent, but then they also have the Luffy hat cut out at the top and the map thing. It's just a really nice look, and they go together nicely. Very similar to the Dragon Ball, but I do think stepped up just a little bit. So yeah, nice packaging. Very pleased with that. And you're probably wondering why I have a boxed Luffy here. And that's because I couldn't find my open one, and I had to do a height comparison. So he's a little bit taller. Guessing where Luffy's feet are, he's appropriately taller. I think that's about right. So that's good. Couldn't find him, sorry. Okay, and then here you go. Here he is up against a Darwin. They're about the same height, so you could definitely squeak these guys into a Marvel Legends a 1/12 scale collection. And for an actual height measurement, he's about 16.25 centimeters roughly, and that's going to give him just about, let's say, 6 3/8 for his height. Okay, question of the day. Which look is your favorite for the Straw Hat crew? People keep telling me that they change their looks every arc. Maybe that's what it is now, but I don't remember that being the case for a long time. I remember their main outfits still being their main player one sort of outfits. Sanji in the black suit, Zoro with the white shirt and the black pants with the green belt, Monkey D. Luffy in his blue jean shorts and his vest. Those were the main looks for a while. They did change more than most anime, and they do change regularly now, but I'm pretty sure those lasted. Anyway, let me know your favorite look. For me, pre-time skip P1 or post-time skip P1. I don't care for the alternate costumes like this as much, but they're still nice enough. I think One Piece does a good job of that. Okay, so let's dive into this. Aesthetically speaking, it's very bland looking because it is mostly just this maroon plastic. It's not super glossy, so I'll take it. It's more of a satin finish. I think it's definitely passable, even though we have different plastics. It looks okay. The paint that's on there, it's alright. The buttons are done well enough. The tie, I think that's painted. No, you know what? Now that I'm looking at it, it might be an actual separate piece. Either way, it's nice and clean. That looks good. The face paint is really well done. They nailed the faces for Sanji. Then they did add shading to the hair, which... Am I crazy, or does he not have shading on his hair normally? Like, there's not a lot of shading in One Piece in general. Should he have this shading, the Super Saiyan shading? I like the way it looks on the figure, but is it accurate? I haven't gotten this far in the show yet. I'm still on... I just got to Punk Hazard Island, or whatever it's called, in the series, so... I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure. I didn't think to look it up because I didn't know it had this until I just started doing the review. But it does have shading, so if you like that, cool. If you don't like it, that's not good. Alright, so that's the paint finish. That's it. There's nothing really to talk about. Okay, there's a little bit more. There's a little bit more. I think they did a good job between the gloves, the wrist, the undershirt, and the coat, and the buttons. It's enough. He's not exactly chock full of details, but it's enough. But now let's go ahead and talk about the sculpt. I don't mind any of it too much, except for the way they're doing their hips now is driving me nuts. Or the thigh swivel, really. It's just so segmented looking. There's no need for something like that on a figure like this. He's just wearing a suit coat and pants. It shouldn't be that hard to make, and that little bit of extra range isn't worth the ugliness, if you ask me. Let me know what you guys think. The rest looks okay. He does have shorter pants. Doesn't look great, but it's not bad. Like, you're not going to notice that. And it doesn't look great because he doesn't really have ankles. He just has ankle joints. So it could look a little bit better. And then we have the shoulders, which if you don't touch them, like right there, they look fine. But we're going to get into that. The rest of it looks okay. So at least at this point, he's like Zoro. He's going to look absolutely just fine in a hero pose. And he's going to look pretty good doing it. No real problem there. So aesthetically speaking, I'll give him, for Figuarts, a 7. It's not blowing me away in any way. The ugly thing right here is not great. And then it's just a very basic looking figure. So it's not great for Figuarts, but it's good enough. Okay, for accessories, this is a good thing here. We're going to do some of this on the spot so we can see how it functions. But first, here's a bunch of different faces. I'm not going to try naming them all. You can see he's got a bunch of different faces, and I think they're all done really well. They look great. They have been nailing the faces across the board for all their lines. I think they're really, really good. He comes with the alternate face for Luffy. Also, again, done very well. Very, very nice. For hands, you get the 2 fist hands. One kind of gripping hand / style pose hand, one hand holding his cigarette. I'm glad they included that rather than omitting it. Very nice. Then we have the 2 wide open hands. That's enough. We do get one more hand, which is also a thigh piece. You can swap that out so it looks like he's got his hand in his pocket, pegs into the wrist like a regular hand, and onto the hip. So that's nice. And then lastly, we have his 2 flaming feet, which look wonderful. Absolutely love the way these looked. These look, not past tense. They look flaming hot. Literally very, very well done. But you have to swap them onto the figure. So we're going to do that now. We're going to do a hot swap live on TV. He also has toe articulation even in the flame. So that's cool. Full ankle articulation, full toe articulation. That's really nice. Same thing on both feet. Different fire effect though. This one is for like a backwards kick, like a heel kick. So the flame is going away from the toe. And this one, I guess toward the toe, I should say. And then this one, the flame is going away from the toe like a forward kick. Just see how that's going to work for people. Okay, that was easy. Which one is the L? That's the L. And... okay, no problems so far. That's good. Pops off easily. I don't feel like anything's going to break. And pops on. I wanted to see. Okay, good. And pops on with a little bit of force, but nothing problematic. I like it. Yeah, that's good. The painted part matches the leg nicely. No problem at all. Like, you would never think anything of that. It looks perfectly good. No problem at all. And then even though it's painted and the whole leg is transparent, they faded the purple, or the whatever you want to call it, down to the flame just beautifully. This is one of the best little paint jobs I've seen on a figure. Like, it's hard to do this properly, and most times we don't even get basic paint jobs done well. But I think they nailed this flame effect. The hot spot would be here, so it's brighter, lighter, and then the orange trails off. These are done so well. This is wonderful. I love those accessories, and they swapped out no problem at all. Great, wonderful. Okay, so his accessory rating. Because these 2 pieces worked out really well, that's going to help him. Lots of faces, enough hands. I think this guy's going to get a 9. The only thing... No, I'm going to do 8 because I would like some kind of stand for him. And I would also like some kind of food item, a dish for him to serve or something like that. So I think there's a few options he could have had that would make him a little bit better. Or maybe like an alternate coat piece where the coat is flapping a little bit in the wind from him doing a kick or something. Same thing for the hair. There's more they could have done, but what is here is done really well. But I'm going to stick with the 8. I think that's a fair assessment. Okay, time to talk about the articulation. I haven't looked at this yet. I'm guessing it's a ball peg. They wouldn't let me down, would they? It is, yes, I love it. I love it. Let's put his head back together and see how it actually functions. A lot of pegs in there, a little bit tricky to get it apart, but that's good. All right, so, oh yes. Tell me again how double ball peg isn't the best neck joint. You can just do whatever you want with it. Just do it. No hassle, no twisting and turning at the same time, no wiggling. Just do it and it works. His hair gets in the way, of course, nothing they can do about that, but really nice range. The neck is on a ball peg. Now he does have the collar on there, so side to side isn't much, but forward and back is nice. It helps. It's not absolutely necessary, but what's there is well done, so I'll take it. The painted neck piece isn't a perfect match, or chest collarbone area isn't a perfect match, but it's close enough, and it's buried in there in shadow anyway, so it's okay. Now, we get to the thing that is one of the worst things I have ever seen on an action figure, especially a premium one. These shoulders are the worst. They put a tiny little ball hinge in there with this big cap. I've been saying that's bad for every figure ever, including like the Kinnikuman figures where they have the muscular shoulders that are round. This guy who's got the little slender coat shoulders, anytime you have a little joint with a big cap over it like that, it doesn't work. That's not how you do shoulders. And this is perfect evidence. You get virtually zero range. You can do that. Oh, wow. That's terrible. It doesn't look good. You can't raise his arms. You get this butterfly joint, which, does it only go forward and back? It doesn't even do up and down. Like there's a little bit of up and down. I guess there's like, it feels like it's a ball peg. So there's a little bit of extra play in that butterfly joint, but not in any meaningful way. Not really. And the shoulder is just horrendously ugly and not useful. Let me pan back just a little bit. It's so ugly. In certain poses, it's not going to matter, of course, but goodness gracious, what were they thinking? This has to be the worst shoulder on an SH Figuarts that we've seen. It's so bad. Goodness. All right, thigh swivel. His arm thigh swivel is fine. That'd be his bicep swivel. Single jointed elbow, good looking for sure. Very nicely done. Hides the joint well, but limited range to some degree. Wrists are on little ball hinges, and I like that the joint itself is his wrist. So it's not sculpted, but it is the right color, and that helps. That looks nice. All right, for the torso, oh my gosh, these shoulders. Oh my gosh, these shoulders. Like, I like that they did this. Like, you can use the butterfly to bring his shoulders back. It looks awkward right now because I'm not really posing him, but that'll help him like to do a kick, like a forward kick like this is Sparta sort of thing, or whatever you want to do. The butterfly itself is not the problem. It's the shoulder on the outside of it. All right, so for the torso, the mid-torso joint. Okay, so it pops off very easily, and they definitely could have given us a coat that has a little bit of a windswept thing going on, but you can see the ball socket there for the top, and then this part is on a hinge and a ball socket. So if you play around with that, you'll get better range. So let's put it back together and see how it functions. Belt is nicely done, though you won't likely see it too much. All right, let's... Oh, it's just not... There's not a lot of retention on that ball peg, so be careful with that. And this one is a double ball peg up at the top. Okay, so let's see what kind of range we get. Leaning back on just this top joint. Oh, he leans back nicely. Leans forward, not that well. Leans back, okay. Forward, side to side, that's okay. Let's use them all together. Okay, trying to avoid using the hips. He does lean back nicely, and then leaning forward. He doesn't lean forward all that well unless you're going to get the hips going, but it's not bad at all. So that's fine. And then if you do use the hips, you can obviously get him a little bit farther bent over. I think it's going to be just fine. The combination of all of these joints work together very well to get his articulation going. All right, that's good. Going out to the side for the hips. Basically full-on splits. And then if you want to use those hip joints that I was saying are kind of useless, you can get a little bit farther, but not that much. So, I don't know, I still think they could have just not done this and made this work just a tiny bit more, and it would have been fine, because these are ugly, but you do have them. So, splits are good. Going forward. Okay, that's as far as they go until you pop off. So, we don't want that, so let's put them back together. And then he has cheeks. His leg doesn't go back any farther. He can still kick nicely, but the cheeks get in the way. Stop putting cheeks on him, Bandai. Put the cheeks on the legs. That way we can get better range, because that doesn't look good anyway. That's not what cheeks look like. It's not a benefit to have the cheeks as part of the hard piece. It just gets in the way of articulation. Put the cheeks here. Let us have the articulation. Who cares if people online say it looks like a thong? Don't listen to them, because this doesn't look good. This looks like a Speedo anyway. Who cares? It's plastic people in pants If someone thinks it looks like a thong, that's on them. Let's have the articulation work. Okay. So you saw the ball peg, so you get your thigh swivel and your ball peg. Really ugly. Really ugly. Functional enough. Single to double jointed knee. Is it a double? I thought it was a double at the bottom, but I think it might just be a single. All right. Okay. Well, I was wrong. It's a single. From the outside, it looks good. No problem at all. Decent range, too. From this side, you do get a little bit of a gap here, but still not bad. Not the worst thing we've ever seen, and it's pretty functional, so that's good. And then the ankles. I like the ankles. They're on a ball peg, so the whole thing moves around. And then you get the full-on hinge. So the foot goes pretty far forward, pretty far back. It's not the best looking joint in the world, but you get a really nice ankle rocker. Very, very functional joint. And then the toe hinge is a really nice one. They did it the way I've been saying they need to do it for forever, and that is to have the diameter of the hinge be the entire thickness of the foot, so that it's flat, and then when you bend it, you don't end up with a big notch. It's just smooth and flush. Very nicely done. The ankle and toe joint is great. So, this guy, very nice overall, but those shoulders are ghastly. They are terrible. It's lucky that he doesn't use his arms very much, but he does still have them, and you will have to pose them, so that does pose a problem, no pun intended. The thigh swivels are also ugly, but he is fairly functional otherwise. I'm going to give this guy's articulation, if I wasn't counting the shoulders, I would go 9. Counting the shoulders, I'm going to say the rest makes up for him a little bit, and I'm going to say 7. It's pretty darn good once you ignore the shoulders, and I think you'll be able to do that given his footwork nature. So, he's lucky. Zoro had bad stuff, but it was necessary. This guy's bad stuff is relatively easy to overlook. Okay, so time for a final verdict on this guy. I think it's pretty darn good, given the effect parts, given the nice articulation other than the parts that are bad, the extra faces. It might be the best release they have so far for One Piece. Surprising. Hard to say for sure, but I think it is. I do think it's the best one so far. I'm going to give this guy an overall rating of 8 out of 10. Those shoulders are still nuts bad, like really, really bad, but the rest is definitely solid enough. And those flame effects are some of the best I've ever seen. Very nicely done. So there it is, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, but thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, a thumbs down is okay too. And if you haven't subscribed, you might want to. I have new videos almost every single day and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.